the dot. That's the dot. That is unity,
That's so
right?
good. Hmm.
That is unity. That's the dot. That is the moment when we met and we felt like we were on the same page and we both loved the same things. And there was just this level of this is my soulmate
Hmm.
that we felt. That's the dot. That's unity. Now, angles start to come in because of these other degrees of separation. The first degree of separation is called mental separation. Mental separation. What happens with mental separation? You don't like how I do finances. I don't want you to touch my money. So then you start telling me, well, you do your thing with money. I'm going to do mine. And now we're managing our money separately. We have different ideologies on how we do money. What about diet? Oh, I'm going to be a vegan. Oh, no, I'm going to eat everything. Mental separation. And this could go on and on, fitness, on and on with what we mentally have separations about. And somebody might say, well, Keston, that's not that big of a deal. But catch what happens. To every mental separation, it goes to the next degree of separation, which is called emotional separation. See, when you have a mental separation on money and you're going to do money the way how you want to do it, and I do it the way that I want to do it, if I suck at managing money and I see you over there winning, I'm going to start to resent you. And I
Yes.
start to build an emotional wall from you because you're not taking care of me or you're not helping me and you're supposed to be my partner. And so emotionally, I start pulling away. To every mental separation, there's a concurrent emotional separation that automatically happens. Because if we see and we're on this different pages about things, then I'm going to judge you automatically. I'm going to think some kind of way about you. I don't care if we agree right now. It could be about food. Look at him over there eating all this food when he should be trying to be healthy and live long. Look at how he's getting fat. Look at like we have all of these conversations in our head. We never verbalize them. And emotionally we start to pull away, which leads to the third one, which is physical separation. So you go from mental separation to emotional separation to a physical separation because now I don't want to be around you. You fat. You're not as attractive anymore. Oh, you're not helping me manage my money? I'm going to stay over here. You stay over there. And so you start sleeping on separate sides of the bed. You start doing different things. You start not coming home as early anymore. You start spending more time in the office. All of these things happen when before you couldn't wait to get home just to spend time together. Physical separation. But where did it start? It all started from that one mental separation, that disagreement of things when we're not on the same page, that led to making me feel some kind of way, that made me do an action. And if that continues on and it continues to stack and stack and stack, and we don't have a safe space to express how I feel about that thing that makes me feel like that, that's why people blow up because we disagreed about something last month, but I just finally had too much that now I'm going to just give you a piece of my mind and now I blow up. And if that continues on, especially if you're doing business and I hate that you're doing business and you're never home and you're never you don't get date night, you cancel date night, you don't spend time with the family,
Hmm.
you miss the kids games, like all of those things, then you come home one day, you find a piece of paper on the table, and it's your wife saying, I want a divorce. I want a divorce. And most men don't try to fix their relationship until things are that serious. And that's the fourth phase of separation, divorce. And so you go from, it all starts from mental separation where we didn't get on the same page. We didn't get aligned about something that led to you or your partner feeling some kind of way about the other person that then led to some kind of physical, I'm removing myself. I don't want to be in the same space as you. That ultimately leads to divorce. Four phases of separation.
I totally agree with that. I've just never heard it explained like that, but that is exactly how it works, right?
It is.
Yeah, because I'm old, right? I could be your mom. And so I've been around, like I've been around a long time, right? And I'm still
Yeah.
married, right? To the same
Mhm.
person, right?
Yeah.
37 years this month, I think.
Woo.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah, that is
Yeah.
great. But we've been through a lot, right? We've been through a
Mhm.
lot. And I would have to say that that is exactly how it works, right?
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, and especially the reason why I try to come up with things to explain it in such a way that it just kind of makes sense is because us men, we're so analytical. If you can't show it to me in a way that it just makes sense, I don't want to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to, because my appeal is for men to get this, to resonate, to be like, oh, I could see that. Oh, I could put a finger on that and do something about it. It has to be tangible for a man. It can't just be, let's go to therapy. Oh, I don't want to talk about my emotions. Like, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know and understand, hey, here's the process of how you could start correcting things in your marriage. It's a very clear map, and you could
Mm-hmm.
see exactly where you guys are. Would a man not be a little bit more compelled to be like, I could try that. That makes sense to me. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, I never thought about it that way. That's why I take all the time. I spend so much time in here just trying to figure out how could I make men understand this and make it put it in a way where they just get it and they don't mind doing it. They don't feel weird doing it.
Well, I feel like it's almost like either you could put it in an let me just try and unpack this just really quick to regurgitate back what you're saying. So it's either like a ladder, climbing up a ladder, or like going down a path. Either one would work. But like
Mhm.
first you have your emotional separation. No, the mind. You have your
Mental. Yep.
mind that leads you to the emotional
Emotions.
separation, which leads you to your physical separation, which leads you
Yep.
to your divorce, which is a separation, right? And it's just
100%.
like you're just like winding, like turn left here, turn right here, turn left here, and here's your destination. It's like when you put in your GPS, divorce, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
nobody puts in their GPS divorce, right? But like
Nobody.
if you're not paying attention, you've literally separated mindfully, then emotionally. Take a right turn here, you're going to physically separate, and then you pretty soon you're at your destination, divorce. It's a no wonder that so many people are getting a divorce.
No wonder. No wonder. And
Mhm.
and when you see it like that, I feel like everything is fixable.
Mhm.
Like literally everything is fixable when you could identify and isolate every single thing like that. If somebody comes to me and they're emotional about something, I know what started it. And so I want to know the root cause. What was the disagreement? What happened? What was the thing that you guys did not see eye to eye on that's causing you to feel this way? I know that I have to go all the way there. Physical separation is just something that I could see. If I see two people who are not holding hands or like cuddle up or whatever, I already know what's going on just off a sight.
Yeah,
You know,
you
and
can
so
see the
like
symptoms of it.
Exactly. You like the
I see
symptoms
it at
are so
church.
clear.
I see it at
Exactly.
church, right? We go to church every week in the same congregation for like 30 years, right?
Yeah.
25, 30 years. And it's interesting to see couple because we've lived there forever, right? And it's not I mean literally you can see it in any situation, right? When you go to things when I go to a real estate meetup or whatever, but I see the people at church week after week and you can tell how couples interact with each other.
Yep. Yep. 1000%. Are they together like this? Are they smiling? Are they talking? Are they kind of like on their phones? Like I could totally tell. And I'm an observer. I love observing. That is one of my superpowers, just to observe and analyze and break things down and try to come up with a formula and a process to try to help the masses see things in a way that it just makes sense.
Yeah, I go to Disneyland once or twice a week too. I live pretty close to Disneyland.
Oh,
And
nice.
isn't that fun? And I love people watching, so I like it,
Yeah.
like if possible, when I'm eating my lunch or dinner or something, I like to sit outside so I can watch the people walking by. And it's the same thing. It's like, I don't even know why you came to the happiest place on earth. This isn't going to help. Like you guys are miserable, right? Like,
That's funny.
like it's just crazy. Like coming to Disneyland's not going to help,
Yeah.
but
Nope. You gotta
mm-mm.
gotta deal with that thing that caused the mental separation. Every single marriage could be assessed and analyzed um, through that filter and that process. I'm actually working on it being a national, worldwide known assessment because I'm just so convicted by the analogy
Yeah.
where somebody who doesn't even know and understand philosophy and all that stuff could just hear it and be like, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes.
Um,
Because
so
it's like
that's
a light bulb goes off, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, because like when I think about, because I'm really big on focus and like where my focus goes, my attention goes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this kind of lines up with that because like if you're not focused on getting these emotional things lined up, you are going to have a volcano erupt down the road. Like that's what it seems like. Mount Vesuvius eventually, because that's what the note is, right? The note that says, I want a divorce is the big eruption because you avoided all of these other things along the way, right? Is that correct?
1000%. 1000%.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I have another question for you. Um,
Please.
I read about, I'm really big on the subconscious mind because Um, I'm a big fan of like Joe Dispenza, and I do the Science of Getting Rich. I listen to this 90-day thing every day that Bob Proctor recommends,
Yep,
and
yep.
I so I can reset my subconscious mind about my money set point and make sure that I'm expanding what my subconscious. So I'm not working against my subconscious because you can only go so far with my
Mhm,
thinking brain. And so
mhm.
many people don't understand that. But I've seen in quite a few of your posts talk about making sure that you're not just like willpower and motivation because they don't really work. And
Yeah.
that your subconscious mind is what's really important. Can you just talk about a little bit about how important that is and what you
Oh
know
my
about that?
gosh. This is like the foundation of everything that I do is
Hmm.
understanding the conscious and the subconscious mind. And when you think about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind is your thinking mind. It's
Hmm.
where you're able to think, it's where you make decisions and so most people think that they're in control because we have a thinking mind. However, we also have a subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is your emotional mind. And how I like to think about your emotional mind is it's like the earth. Whatever seed you take and plant, if I had a flower seed and I took that flower seed and I put it in the earth, I'll get a flower plant. Likewise, if I took a poison ivy vine or seed and I put that in the earth, I'm going to get poison ivy. So it doesn't matter what you take and what you plant in the earth, you're going to get that. And
Right.
that's exactly how your subconscious mind works. Whatever you take and you put in there is what you get. Now, for this to make the world of sense, we got to go back to when we were kids.
Okay.
See, when we were kids, we didn't have a thinking mind. We couldn't think and tell our parents, "Oh, mom, don't put that ridiculous outfit on me,"
Mhm.
right? Or,
Yes.
"Hey, mom, I don't want Infamil formula. I want breast milk." Like, we couldn't tell our mom those things or parents those things because we didn't have a thinking mind. And so what that means is that because when we were born, we only had a subconscious mind, that means that everything that affects our five senses goes
Mhm.
directly into our subconscious mind. So somebody might be saying, okay, Keston, why is that important? The reason why that is important is because your parents' beliefs and what they say about money is going
Mhm.
into your subconscious mind. With their attitudes, their habits and behaviors, their paradigms, that's being planted into your subconscious mind. Your environment, your community, your culture, that is all being planted into your subconscious mind. That's the reason why if I took my 9-month-old baby right now and I took her to China and I let her live there for the next 10 years, she's going to speak fluent Chinese.
Mhm.
Why? Because her environment, everything is being planted directly into her subconscious mind. Now, here's another interesting thing about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is fascinating. Here's another interesting thing about the subconscious mind. Do you know that the subconscious mind is where your self-image is formed?
Yes, that's why we can never outperform our self-image because we cannot. We cannot because unless you
Exactly.
expand your subconscious version of what you think you are. Yeah, because I host this science. I paid a lot of money, like a lot of
Yeah.
money to belong to a small mastermind group, and they told us to do this science of getting rich thing every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I host it for free for other people, even though I paid over
Wow.
I paid $30,000 to learn about this, right? And literally, I host it for free for people, and literally one or two people will finish it with me at the end, right? And it's interesting is they just don't understand that when you have to reprogram. People think that they're just like, oh, I just gave up because this is just how I am, or it just was too hard, or this that. It's like, no, you cannot outperform your subconscious mind. You have got to do the work on your subconscious mind to expand what you think is possible for yourself, and literally stretch your subconscious mind, so then you can take that gap of what you think is possible and
Mm-hmm.
what your reality is. That I've slowly stretched it a little more this year because I did this challenge, right? Because
Yeah.
they actually scientifically studied the brain to see that your subconscious mind expands when you do this challenge, right? But it's 90 days of listening to the same thing over and over again.
Mm.
But nobody wants to do 90 days of listening to the same. And if you miss a day, you got to start over, right? And I did it, and I have it on my YouTube channel for people to do it. But literally, like one or two people will actually finish it with me. So
Oh
it's
my
something I've
God.
been really just thinking about. And then I saw that you wrote about the subconscious mind. And so I'm on
Oh
this
yeah.
journey. Yeah, you cannot outperform your self identity of your
You
subconscious
can't.
mind.
You can't. And so yes, your self-image is one of the main things that it controls you.
Hmm.
And your habits also lives in your subconscious mind. That's
Hmm.
the reason why 95% of everything that you do is controlled by your subconscious mind. You don't think about it. Like, when was the last time you're driving and you think, oh, let me press the accelerator. Oh, let me press the brake. Let me press the accelerator. Let me press the brake. You don't think about it. Most people don't even realize when they've gotten to their location and they're like, oh my God, I don't even remember what
Getting
happened all
here.
here. Right.
Yeah.
So you're doing all of these activities. You put on your clothes. You don't think, let me put one arm in. Now let me put in the other arm. You do all of these activities and things without thinking about it with your conscious mind. It all happens subconsciously. 95% of what you do is in your subconscious mind. And so that's the reason why when people go to all of these seminars and they take all these courses and all these things, and nothing happens. They get motivated for a period because they absorb information in their conscious mind, but it never gets to their subconscious. They don't do the work like you were telling them to do to let
Mm-hmm.
it get into their subconscious mind so that it reprograms their beliefs, their habits, and how they see themselves to start actually doing the thing that they want to do. And they just go back to who they've always been, which is oftentimes just like their parents or just like the people that they were around. And that's the power of the subconscious mind. It keeps people stuck, but they only want to buy more information, not realizing that does not help them start doing the thing. You got to go on a subconscious level. Every single person, that's what needs to happen. Subconscious mind and understanding it is the most important thing anyone could do for them for their lives. And I'll stop by saying this. In the Bible, the scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
That's so true.
When you hear the word heart, most like I don't know what most people think. I can only tell you that the revelation I've had because I've now questioned it. Am I actually talking about the archery heart as a man thinketh in his archery heart? Like, and most people never really question, well, what does this really mean? When they reference heart, every single time in the Bible that they reference heart, guard your heart, all of these different things, they're talking about your subconscious mind.
I agree with that. Mhm.
As a
And it's
man,
mhm.
as a man thinketh in his subconscious mind, so is he, because it controls your self-image, it controls your actions and your habits, and it controls your belief.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that when you think about your heart, when you like if you have a hard heart or a soft heart,
Mm-hmm.
and I really believe that we can reshape our subconscious mind if we
Mm-hmm.
put in the work. And I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza's and Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and all the books I've read from him. I've never been to one of his seminars, but I listen to a lot of stuff when I'm asleep too.
Yeah.
Um, but what advice would you have for someone who wants to change their subconscious mind? And then we'll wrap this up because I know we've been on here a while, but I love talking to you. I want to have you back again if you'll come back again.
I'd love to. This was fun for me.
Hmm.
The biggest thing that I would say for somebody who wants to reprogram their subconscious mind is first gain knowledge and understand it,
Hmm.
right? Like I feel like there's a level of understanding that you need on what you're doing because it gives you the aha moment that actually makes you follow through with doing the work.
Hmm.
And then I'll go all the way to the other extreme and say the next thing I would say is to get an accountability partner or a coach because when you go on this journey alone, you're not going to want to finish. You're going to want to go back to being safe, go back to being who you were. Your brain was designed to keep you safe. This is going to happen automatically. And if you don't have accountability or a coach to keep pushing you forward and call you out, you're going to go right back to being who you were. And so between those two extremes, which they're really not extremes, it would be actually doing the work of the 90-day challenge of like just
Hmm.
indoctrinating yourself with the new concept or the new thing that you want to do while implementing and taking action on the thing itself as well. And so those would be some of the tangible tactical things instead of just being like, oh, you got to sit down and meditate. That's a part of it,
Hmm.
but I don't want to come off as a woo woo kind of thing. Like, I don't want to give a generic answer, but those two pieces right there, or all of the things that I said, are the tangible, tactical things that you could start with. Anyone that wanted to get started, that's where I would say go start there. Get you a coach or accountability partner and get you some knowledge. And the coach would be the person that would give you the knowledge anyway, but
Yeah. Mhm.
um,
And help you implement, because
and
the
help you
woo woo
implement.
part's important, right? The woo woo part's
It
important,
is.
but if you don't take any action, nothing's going to happen.
Oh man, you're making me want to keep going in a sense, Colleen. And I'll let me just say this because of the woo woo part, right?
Because I'm big
I
on woo woo, but you really need to take action. Like you need
yes,
God and God energy, woo woo, whatever you call source or whatever. For me, it's God,
yeah,
okay? But
yeah,
you can get
exactly.
all your energy aligned and meditate and pray forever. But if you don't get your butt off the chair and pick up the phone and make some phone calls and create something, because we're born to create, nothing's
Yep,
going to happen. God's not going to deliver all of your desires just to your doorstep. You got to take some imperfect, uncomfortable action.
exactly, exactly. And I want to demystify some woo-ness so that
Okay, let's
people
hear it,
could
because we can
practically
chop this into two parts if we need to. So go ahead, keep
cool,
going. If you have
cool.
time, I have time.
Let's do it. Demystify.
Mhm.
So when you visualize and meditate, here's what actually happens, right? Memory is when people say when they say memory, we often think that it's something of the past. Memory is just storage in our mind, in our
Mhm.
brain, right? And so why is that important? Because if it's just storage, although I only use it for things of the past, that means that you could also use it for things of the future. Now, watch this. If you get an emotional charge of something of the past that makes you feel anxiety, that makes you feel restless, that makes you not take action, you could also store something in your memory that excites you, that makes you anticipate something and make you take action. How do you put something in your memory? You do it through visualization.
Yeah, and you
When you
use your
start,
imagination for good.
exactly.
Mhm.
And
I
so when you
love
start,
you.
when you start imagining, and I know this because I partnered with a neurologist and he helped me to tie my woo woo with practical people who like make this make sense.
Mhm.
Essentially, when you visualize, you create new neural pathways in your brain. And if you want to know what a neural pathway is, just think about a road in the street from point A to point B and a road that takes you there. So from your house to the gym, you take one road from your house to the gym. That is what that memory and neural pathway, that's what connects your memory to an emotion. That's what happens. That creates that neural pathway. For you now, you want to create a new neural pathway. So visualizing creates another entry point and you create a new B. So instead of going to the B that was before, you now create a C. So the emotion that you have that's connected to that memory is now different. And so now you start having a different emotional charge because you have a different outcome of your future that is I want to have I want to have I want to buy a property. I want to buy a multifamily property, 100 units. Now, if you store a memory of something that didn't happen in your brain, you're gonna have the same level of excitement that in your body as if a day when you got in a car accident. The same emotional charge and memory that you have the day that if you're traveling a car and you're like, oh my God, I get scared every time I travel or whatever because this happened to me in the past, you could reprogram your brain for something that didn't even happen yet and get excited. Why is that important? Now you're not going to be crippled and not make the phone calls. Now you're excited to get on the phone and go out and take action and do all the things because you've created new neural pathways in your brain that believes something that didn't even happen yet. And this is also another way that you can reprogram your subconscious mind. We could talk about this for hours. You just got me even more excited talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I made, well, I say my husband made me an ideal video, my ideal life video with like huge goals on it, just huge, right?
Yeah.
And then I used to watch it every day, and then I just started watching it again. But what is
Mm-hmm.
so crazy cool about using your imagination? So I would watch the video of me doing these cool, incredible things, right? And all my big goals, right? And two of them have already come true, right?
Wow.
And I was just like, it's interesting how you can, and because I made that video about 3, 4 years ago, I can't remember. Yeah. And John had to put it together for me, but I watch it every day, my ideal life of what I do, right? And it's interesting when I sat down and I interviewed Pace, which was it was my big thing is to interview cool people, big people, successful, and then when and I've just been doing this, and I had no idea how to turn a computer on 3 years ago, right? And I just had these huge goals, right? And what's interesting is that when we use our imagination to co-create, and then we take the inspired perfect action, but we keep watching our ideal life instead of using our brains to rehash all the weird stuff that's happened to us, or that the people have pissed us off and upset us, or they did me wrong, whatever, right? And you
Yeah.
rehash that over and over, which is what most people do, right? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
used to do that. I mean, I still can be a pro at that, right? And so it's interesting. So I watch this video, I do all this stuff. I'm really, really good at making vision boards, but watching this video, and then when Pace said, put a scroll thing on your phone, to a carousel of pictures of your ideal life, so it's just constantly showing you. And I'm like, oh, that's even better than my ideal life video, which I'm going to do that soon. I just haven't scheduled it in. But it really works. Like, I'm just a normal person, right? That's taking imperfect action, and then implementing the things I'm learning, and then reaching out and listening to God. God's telling me, hey, you should do YouTube. Try that out. And I'm like, oh, I can never
Mm-hmm.
do that, but I'm doing it because I know it came from him, right?
Yeah.
And then I just start reaching out to people. I didn't even know you. I just knew that God told me you would be a good alignment with me, right? And I trust God, right?
Yeah.
And so I just know that if you're listening to me and Keston and you're thinking we're both crazy, I'm just telling you this stuff works. That's all I'm going to tell
Does.
you.
It does. It's what changed my life,
Mhm.
hands down. And to the person who has a difficult time associating God with what we're talking about, here's my opinion. Everything that we're talking about, God created, and He created it for a purpose. There is there's no time or reason that you believe that gravity is some kind of woo-woo thing. You don't. Everything that we're talking about works exactly like how gravity works. You've just been normalized to that. What's happening now is that, and how I like to kind of phrase it is like the law of attraction and all of these different laws is equally the same as the law of magnetism. Like it just all works the same way. We're discovering it in an age and a time that makes it seem like spooky.
Yes, but it's not.
it's
I'm going to get one thing. Yeah, it's
it's
not. It's
not.
right. It's just not taught in school. It's not taught even in Sunday school, right? I mean, it's in the Bible. If you pay attention, ask and it is given, knock and ye shall receive, right? And all these
Yep.
things, right? And about the having a good heart, right? And
Yep.
because if you have a good heart, then you do have the good energy, right? But if you have a hardened heart, you're not letting go of stuff. Hold on. Do you need to go?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I noticed that the back of that book, that's working with the law, isn't it?
This is the
No,
science of
the
getting
one
rid. I have that one too, right here. They're my
that's
little.
that's what I seen. I'm like, I know that book cover back there. That's working with
Yeah.
the law.
These are these are like my go-to for this kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm so grateful that God told me when I told him, I said, I want to do more with my life. Because when you have a kid that's really sick and a kid that was in jail, right, it makes you really think about the energy and the legacy I want to leave, and
Mhm.
how can I help other people live a more joy-filled life that maybe don't have the access. Maybe someone doesn't have $30,000 like I did to pay to go to that mastermind or to go to the different things I have, right? Because I believe in being resourceful, but a lot of people, they just can't even comprehend things like that. And so I
Yeah.
felt like I wanted to create a YouTube channel for people to see something possible in themselves that they maybe never thought of before, and that maybe
Yeah.
they can start saving money to go to the next thing or to buy this book or to reach out to you or start following us and start maybe making some shifts in their life, so that maybe because I'm grateful I get to be in the Pace is my friend. Like if I called him, he would answer. Like or when he could, he'd get back to me, right?
Right.
And then his universe is making it possible for me to be in connection with all these other people like you and all these other incredible people I've interviewed and just you know what I'm saying, and these other masterminds. Like I'm a best-selling author because I picked, I did all these things. Yeah, and I think you should write a book. And my friend Ellie is a publisher, and she teaches you
Ooh.
how to strategically write a book. My husband wrote. Tell him about Ellie because you could strategically write your book in a week. She does a boot camp and she teaches you how to do that. And it's something you should highly consider. Everyone has their own thing, but I'm just saying, I feel like you really have a great message. And I hope a book is on your heart in the future.
Oh, 1000%. I am in the midst of writing like 3 books,
Good.
but without guidance. So I would love to connect with Ellie or
Yeah, you got to
and
meet
get these
Ellie.
things.
So I'll connect you guys to each other because
Awesome.
because like you know that the people you hang out with is crucial, and she's one of the best people, and she's could impact everybody's life that she comes in contact with for like
Wow.
for like the better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and what a I feel like God sent her to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I just kept following the path of things that seemed like crazy to do. And now she's one of
Yeah.
my dearest friends, which I'm so grateful for. But so that's my goal is for everybody listening to think, oh, and then men, if you are listening, and women, like let's say you think, oh, I wish my marriage was more like what Keston's talking about. Like they can reach out. How do people get a hold of you?
One of the best ways to get a hold of me is on Instagram. You could
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me on Instagram, and that is Kes on Purpose,
Mm-hmm.
KES on Purpose on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, on actually every social media platform. And if you wanted me somewhere else, you could just find my name, Keston Glasgow, on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. I'm pretty easy to find.
I
Just
found you.
and I respond, right? Like
Yeah, you
so.
responded. Yes.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
if you need any guidance, if you need just to talk through something to understand, want me to understand your situation, I'll be more than happy to connect.
Yeah, and then you do invest in real estate too, but mostly you focus on helping men, right? Men
Yeah,
that
yeah,
and their marriages, right?
exactly. My wife and I, we've built a $10 million real estate portfolio that we still have. 48 units. We have some single family. And so that kind of just works. Now I just focus on helping men. This is my purpose. This is what I feel so moved to do. Also, a high performance coach that help investors achieve their goals by helping them undo the faulty paradigms, and so that they could rewire their subconscious mind.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that the vehicle of real estate investing has given you the freedom to pursue other passions.
1000%. Real estate is what helped me to find my purpose. It is.
Mhm.
It's what we used, and I couldn't be more grateful to God for just this opportunity of being able to give back in such a great way and be used. That's really what it is, to be used to help in such an area that I feel is so needed. And there's not a whole lot of examples out there for me in this
Yeah.
space, so I'm figuring out a lot. Um,
You're a pioneer, trailblazer. That's what I feel like.
exactly. So pray for me.
You know what? I'm going to add you to my personal prayers because when people are doing God's work and spreading light at the high
Yeah.
level, opposition always comes into play,
Oh man. Hmm.
right?
When I
Because
tell you,
the
it's
adversary doesn't
always
want your light to shine, especially if you're
exactly.
helping people stay married and to raise beautiful families and to break generational curses of, the husband not being the father not being there. Yeah, Satan doesn't want that. So,
Nope, not at all. But he ain't
mm,
gonna win.
no way. No, we know who we worship, right? The Alpha and the
Exactly.
Omega, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, this has been
Anyway,
awesome.
yeah, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to have you come back again. I'll let you know. Maybe in a couple months we'll get another update and we'll talk again because this is my long-term goal. Pace told me go all in, so I'm going all in. And and I love how our real estate world's lined up, but all our Jesus and God and subconscious and mind and manifestation, all it's amazing how it all comes together, right?
It really is. It
So
really
thanks
is.
so much for being here. And I'm excited.